All right, guys, give me a second. We're gonna go live here. Actually, I think we are live. Just gotta get the camera set up. All right, guys. Hey, try to get you out of the light. All right, I think we're good. All right, so we got 2 people live so far, so that's cool. Going through the menu here. Sorry, guys. Mute, share. Okay, that's to flip the camera. Ooh, you can add filters. Interesting. Okay. All right. Oh, now we got 3 viewers. That's cool. All right, guys. So we had this scheduled a couple days ago. I think I posted it Thursday or Friday that we are going to do another live Q&A from the shop. So here we are. We're out in the shop. Kind of an update. The SS is still on the lift. We have the Corvette and Lexus over here. You know, not much has been done to the Corvette. I mean, honestly, it's just kind of sitting there waiting its turn. The SS, the reason the SS is on the lift is because I think I've talked about this more than once. Basically, you know, we are having an idling issue with the car. I've thrown sensors at it. I've replaced sensors. I had sensors. I've started replacing gaskets and stuff like that. I'm going to cover all this in a video coming up, probably next week or the following week, something like that. And basically what we're having, the big issue we're having with that car is the rough idle. I've scanned the OBD2 scanner. I've got that torque app. You know, it's not showing me anything. There's no codes. I've checked the O2 sensor, you know, stuff like that. We haven't had anything. There's no smoking gun. You know, there's not like, oh, I changed this and it works, or I changed that and it works. I've changed out some exhaust gaskets. Actually, speaking of that, I was watching the RPM, so Race Premium Motorsports out in Delaware. I was watching their video on Thursday, something like that. And their video was basically saying that the exhaust gaskets that you use, the ones that come with aftermarket long tube headers, they all leak and they don't work well. Like, you stick with GM gaskets. I already learned that problem with the Corvette. You know, we've already replaced that one. So I'm applying that lesson to the SS, and we are replacing the gasket. You know, that's part of the gaskets we're replacing are the exhaust gaskets, and we're going down that rabbit hole on the SS. So that's kind of the update for the SS. What else we got? I don't really have any modification videos for the SS. It's mostly going to be repairs, because we've done the dead battery, the tire pressure system taking a crap, which was an interesting experience. And the sensors I had in there, those were from Discount Tire, and I think I got 7 or 8 years out of them, because I've had the SS since 2014, so we've had it for 6 years. I put the CTS V wheels on the SS, like, you know, within the first year of ownership, but those wheels were actually on my G8. So I had those on my G8 for, I want to say, a solid 2 years, because when I bought that car, it was 2009 or 2010 when the G8, when I bought mine. So my car was like a year or two old. I put the wheels on, and those wheels didn't come out until, I want to say, 2009. I think the V2, first year of the V2 was 2009. Then they had the Centennial, not Centennial, the Centennial's Corvette. They had that really like metallic-y flake black color on the CTSV. That's what those wheels are off of. I'll show you the black wheels, dark wheels. It's actually I think it's a graphite gray bumper color. GM's recycling parts and stuff, so the color is actually a trim color for a Chevy Silverado. I couldn't tell you what year, but basically it's a flat trim colored from their, I think, the GMT 800s. So the same year, you know, the truck I have is a GMT 800. And so the black off the CTS package, the wheels came from a Silverado, something like that. It's like a graphite gray flat. It's not a semi-gloss. It's a flat. So, but anyway, that's kind of enough about the tires. I can't remember the name of that. It sucks. It was a really good color. It was high metallic black color on the CTS, but I don't remember what the color was. But anyway, long story short, that's updates for the SS or repairs. We've got this idle issue. We have a modification video coming up for the SS. It's just not for my SS. That's kind of cryptic, but that project will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. I don't think it'll be this week. Probably next week. I'm not sure. I've already edited the video, so it might be repair video, then the project that we're talking about, or it might be project, then the repair. I'm just not sure where we're going to go with that. But yeah, so let's kind of update on the SS. And actually, we just got some parts in, so let's we can get that. Let's go ahead and kind of go through that. Sorry guys, we're moving and talking at the same time. This will work. So one problem I've been running into with modifications or repairs on all of my cars are parts. Due to the global issue going on right now, I don't know how you guys have been, in regards to receiving parts. I ordered these parts. I don't order anything on Amazon anymore, simply due to the fact, oh, by the way, here's the box of stuff. I don't order parts on Amazon anymore, car parts at least, just due to the fact that we have, Amazon's not shipping. Their parts are 30, 60, 90 days out. They're not anything specific. I'm not sure what's going on with, Amazon. I know they've kind of marketed themselves as trying to fill priority orders first, whether it's masks or food, stuff like that. We just haven't, when it comes down to like car parts and even food, stuff is just not shipping. So I've been ordering a lot of stuff on eBay and stuff. But actually, so here's what came in. I ordered a set of NGK spark plugs for the SS. These are the TR71X. I believe these are one heat range colder than stock, and these are going to be pretty good for the SS. I was looking up spark plug suggestions, and the CTSV guys were suggesting as long as you're not running nitrous or anything crazy like that, the NGKs are kind of the one to go with. And yeah, so the part number is, I'm not sure if you guys can read that, 3690. So that's kind of the spark plug they were suggesting for the CTSV guys. And yeah, I think this might be one of the contributing factors for the rough idle, is the fact that on the SS, we still have the stock spark plugs in it. I replaced the header gasket like we talked about a couple minutes ago, and I realized I had the GM spark plugs in there from, hold on guys, sorry. I realized I had the stock spark plugs in it, which I thought I'd replaced them, but it happens. So we end up having the stock spark plugs, and I'm like, they're 6 years old. They're seeing 8 or 9 pounds of boost. They're not seeing ethanol or anything like that. It's just pump gas 93, and so I just decided to look up spark plugs, and the NGKs were highly recommended, and go from there. So like I was saying, we have that rough idle problem on the SS. It's been on and off. Like, it's gotten better, it's gotten worse. We've replaced gaskets, and I think hopefully the latest solution will be these NGK spark plugs. The reason I went with NGK was due to the fact that I actually have, I'm not sure if I have the TR6 or the TR7 in the Corvette. I don't remember which spark plug I have in there, but basically, they suggested spark plugs for boost, and so I think part of the idling problem that we're having is the spark plugs, like we were saying, and I can't believe I still have the stock spark plugs in there, because when I had PCM tune the Corvette, they suggested changing out the plugs for NGK, TR whatever recommended brand, but with the SS they tuned it and never made a suggestion on the spark plugs in it. So I'm not really sure kind of what's going on with the recommendation there, but so like I said, I looked it up. The NGKs were highly recommended on CTSV forums, the CTSV versus the World Facebook group, and kind of other places that I saw it on. So that's what we're gonna go with. I hope that takes care of the idling issue. The other issue could be spark plug wires. I have the stock ones in the car. We haven't changed anything there, so we're gonna try the plugs first, then the wires. I tried moving around the spark plug wires, and I really didn't see anything major going on. The one thing I did see was I took a thermal probe, a thermal gauge, and put it on each cylinder, and I did see one cylinder was like 80 to 100 degrees cooler than another cylinder. So I'm under the assumption that that cylinder is getting spark, it's getting fuel, but something's not working, whether it's a spark plug, the injector, or the wire. So what I did was I actually moved the wire to another cylinder. The cylinder was still 80 to 100 degrees cooler than the next one. I then swapped the original wire back, and then I swapped the coil plug as well, and that cylinder was still 80 to 100 degrees cooler. And yeah, so that kind of troubleshooting with a car that doesn't have any, OBD2 codes kind of sucks. So this has been 2 or 3 week project trying to get, this idle to be fixed, but you just end up running into parts problems because, like I said, I ordered these spark plugs a week ago, and they must have printed 2 shipping labels on it, because I checked the shipping label. It hadn't been shipped yet, and this came from New York. So I should wash my hands before I go do anything. But anyway, yeah, so parts are backed up, like I said, on Amazon, eBay. I've had maintenance items around the garage with tractors and grills and stuff, and I've just been ordering parts on eBay because, like I was saying a couple minutes ago, Amazon is simply not shipping anything, or if they do, it's 60 days out, which as a Prime member, it shouldn't take that long. So, but it's just kind of the world we're living in right now, with global issues going on and supply chains being backed up and certain online vendors just not shipping anything. So, but what else we got going on? I think the last live video we did was 2 weeks ago. I think 2 Saturdays ago. Nothing real new here. Everyone's still healthy. We haven't had any issues with it, with the global issue going on right now. We're still working. We're working days and nights here, so we're fine there. The one thing that's kind of different is I actually know people impacted by this global issue. And yes, I'm not going to say what the name of it is, because I think YouTube is still demonetizing videos. And actually, I just had to upload a video yesterday that I edited. Part of the monetization on your videos, you actually have to check. There's no kids in the video. There's no pew pews, if you guys know what that is. There's no weapons, basically. There's no global issue talk. There's no spreading false news. Like, you have to like self-attest to all of these functions to be monetized. And if I'm saying something issue, I don't think that this video would get monetized. But oh, and also the other thing, I'm not sure if other channels are complaining about it. Not complaining, but talking about it. Revenue's down 40%. My video views are at an all-time high. Like, I've gotten probably 3,000 to 4,000 more views per month, due to people having more time and having time to watch more content. But revenue's down over 40% on my channel. I imagine bigger channels are seeing the same numbers. So this would be a good time to help self-promote. So if you guys want to help support the channel, check out the website. You buy stuff on there. I've thought about doing Patreon in the past, but I simply don't think I have enough content to offer like a premium experience. I don't, I kind of film videos as they come up. I don't, this isn't a business of mine. I still have a full-time job. So I don't see why you guys would pay a premium price for Patreon if I'm not going to add anything. If you guys have questions, feel free to interrupt me. I'm just kind of talking. There's like 4 subscribers or 4 viewers, which is not bad. But if you have any issues you want to talk about the cars, projects, garage, whatever, feel free to comment. That way, I'm not just talking. But yeah, so like I said, feel free to comment, make comments, ask questions. Hey, I just got a like. Cool. But yeah, so like I was saying, so revenue's down, projects are down. The SS is just being a big pain in the butt with this idling issue. And I don't want to repeat myself again, but trying to diagnose a car, not throwing any OBD2 trouble codes, and I'm almost at a loss of words on the SS. The Corvette, we've had issues, but I've just fixed it. But the SS is just being a big pain. Do you guys want to see anything? Do you guys have any comments, questions? I know, I will say this, I did have kind of a success story from 2 weeks ago. I believe the guy's name on YouTube was Angelo. I could be wrong about that. Angelo something. I started with a B, I believe. But he had a bunch of questions a couple weeks ago about the Corvette over here. And I think he was installing a E-Force supercharger on his C6. And so I helped answer some questions with pulleys, tensioner, and stuff like that. And he started talking with me through Instagram Messenger or whatever it was. And so yeah, success story was he had his car tuned, I think on the stock pulley, and it made I might be screwing it. I think it was 460 to the wheel through a 6L80. So a stock car. Hey, how was the auxiliary? Thinking of getting one. You drill. Sorry, guys. Hey, Philip. Reading your question. Okay. DSX kit. I would highly recommend. Sorry, guys. Stupid chats. DSX kit. Philip, what kind of car do you have? Is it a Corvette or is it an SS? Because that makes all the difference. The DSX kit for the Corvette will not work unless you have a ZR1. Because I believe the ZR1 has a fuel, it's called FPCM, fuel pressure SS. Okay, you would be perfectly fine with a auxiliary kit on the SS. What, are you planning on using ethanol? Do you have a blower? nitrous, what's the motor setup? Because that's kind of where you run out of pump with that DSX kit. I think like 800 wheel, 900. It's somewhere up there. It's like 800 wheel ish. They run out of power. Pro Charger. Okay, I'll show you. Let's see. Well, I don't have access to the. This is gonna get shaky. I apologize, guys. But all right, Phil. So here's the SS. I actually don't have any. All right, that's the welder. Oh, it's down in there somewhere. Gas tank drilling. You're gonna want to use a air-powered drill. I highly recommend a 90-degree drill because, well, the SS you might have more room. This is where platforms are different. You know, different platforms require different tools. Highly recommend an air-powered 90-degree drill. They're like $10 at Harbor Freight. 10? Yeah. Maybe it's 50. Go to Harbor Freight. They have an air-powered 90-degree drill. The reason you don't want to use a battery-powered drill or an electric drill is due to the fact that gas vapors can ignite. Battery power, this is a poor example, but battery power has electricity in it, okay? So if you turn the drill on, there's electrical charge going through it. You want to use a air-powered drill because no electricity, it's mechanical, it's air-powered, there's no electric in it. What you're trying to do is prevent a vapor fire, not the gas itself. You know, gasoline itself is not super flammable. What you're trying to prevent is a vapor fire because gasoline vapor is highly flammable. If you use an electric powered drill drilling into the tank, that can explode. So you want to use a 90-degree air powered drill. That's the good thing. Pro Charger, you should be fine on a Pro Charger as long as you don't go crazy with the pulley or add ethanol. I don't think you'll run out of pump on the auxiliary setup. There is a magic number on the DSX. I don't know what that is. I think it's 800 wheel-ish, where the pump can fail and boom. So that's there is a limit on the DSX kit. I have had great success with my auxiliary pump on the Corvette. I picked up the manufacturer's A&A. I've heard cases of leaks, which I've talked. I was sold to use a better product to seal it. Not a fan. Okay. Let's, sorry if it's going to be shaky. I'm trying to grab something. I'm trying to get to I have a sealant. What did I use? I used, no, that's pipe sealant. Here, this is what I use. This is 565 thread sealant. I'm sorry if that's backwards. I don't know with the camera. I'm not sure if the text is the right way. 565 thread sealant. This is designed for fuel. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Loctite. So it's a methyl crylate ester. Then it goes to Spanish. Anyway, so this is a 565 thread sealant. This is what I used on my Corvette. I've not had a single issue with it. And actually, I've been using this on some threads, you know, using not AN fittings, that's the wrong, like brass fittings or anything like that. I've used this on that as well, but this is specifically designed for fuel, and it's kind of it doesn't ever dry. Like it always remains a liquidy paste, and that's what prevents it from leaking. So, sorry, I'm getting that stuff was kind of gross. But hey, if you guys want to see the let me switch cameras. All right, yeah, so here's the LSA swap. You guys have seen this on video. Nothing too crazy here. You'll see that the driver's side is torn apart, and we're going to do that spark plug swap we were talking about. All right, Permatex thread sealer with PTFE vulcanized. Okay, PTFE. Aviation sealer, that might work. Sorry, guys. I don't know. Wrong camera. Sorry. I don't know enough about the Permatex thread sealer. I found the Loctite stuff just on Corvette forum or something like that. I just was Googling like fuel sealer, fuel tank sealer, and that stuff was recommended, and I've used that for 2 tanks now, and I've not had a problem with it. So, and I use ethanol. Like, let me put you guys back down on the table. Sorry, guys. So I've been using that Loctite sealer. I drilled the tank out twice. I did the initial like 90-degree brass fitting or whatever nickel that threads in the tank. I did that for my first auxiliary setup on the Corvette, and then I drilled a bigger hole into the Corvette. And yeah, the pumps around me are 85%, which is nice. Is that 80%, 85% ethanol? Anyway, I've actually had issues not with the thread sealant tape, not tape, I'm sorry, the sealant we're talking about. I've actually had issues with switching back from gas to ethanol and fittings just starting to leak randomly. It worked magically. Ethanol, okay. Yeah, so I had issues with my first auxiliary pump kit. I have a video out there. Basically what I did was ECS Supercharger sells a real cheap pump kit. I bought someone's attempt at that for like a third of the price. I probably put another $200 or $300 into it. It never worked. It dropped pressure on the Corvette. I don't know how long you've been a subscriber, Philip, but so I bought a real cheap fuel pump kit. It didn't work for shit. Whoops, I didn't mean to swear. But I ended up buying the A&A fuel pump kit, and it's good for either 1,000 or 1,200 horsepower on ethanol, and it's got 2 Holley pumps in it, and it's worked great. But like I was saying, I used that Loctite, I think 565, whatever that was the number. I apologize. And that's worked fine. At the kits you're looking at, the sealer, just make sure you do your research and find out if it's gas approved, and not 565. Okay, yeah. And when I mean gas, I don't mean propane or natural gas. I mean petroleum. Like, yeah. Well, is propane petroleum? I don't know. I'm not in the energy industry, so but make sure it's labeled for like liquid gas, not like I think you know what I'm trying to say. Just make sure it's rated for, automotive gas industry, something like that. So, but ProCharger, you should be fine on that. I wish I knew more about the ProCharger kits. They make killer power, especially on the C7s, but I've just never really done my research on them, so I don't know a significant amount on them. But I do know the ProCharger's like huge intercoolers. So, Philip, I don't know what air-to-air, or I think it's an air-to-air in that kit. I don't know what. Yeah, A&A's. I like their parts. If I didn't have all this money in the root style, I probably would go with an A&A. But honestly, if we decide to put another blower on that car, it'll be a Kong 2650, because it's basically a bolt-in. I've already done all the upgrades, like water pump, the heat exchanger. The only thing I haven't done is the 8 or 10 rib pulley drive system. It's not the only thing that would be preventing me from putting that in, but that's another discussion down the road. It's a 3-core ProCharger, 650 wheel. That'll be a very nice kit. What I was gonna say was, I don't know. You might want to look into the. Someone makes an aftermarket bumper support. Is it Turbo Joe? Someone makes an aftermarket impact bar. I mean, it's not really an impact bar. It's just a bash bar. Next gen. There you go. Yeah. So next gen, maybe you want to get their bar, get a bigger intercooler, and buy the grill system from Will Pate. What's his company? I think it's Twisted Wrench Grills, Twisted Grill Designs. You know what I'm talking about. Basically, there you go. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Cool. Yeah, I think that's the best setup you could possibly go for with a Pro Charger. And I'm sure none of that stuff was cheap. I think that bumper bar was like 200, $200 or $300, and the intercooler is probably. This is gonna sound bad, but heat exchangers on the LSAs are $700. So I imagine intercooler air to air is same price or more. The Edelbrock one I have on the upgraded Edelbrock I have on the Corvette, that was like $700, something like that. So, but yeah, so I wish you luck on that. That will be an awesome car, awesome kit. The For 650 wheel, you should be fine. Wow, $300. I'm jealous. I think I basically bought a bolt-on LSA heat exchanger. That was $700, 750, something stupid like that. I think it was 750. And oh, I'm sorry, the water bottle's blocking away. I apologize. Yeah, so I bought that from STG Motorsports. I don't think they even make it anymore. But basically, it was a bolt-on heat exchanger, and I didn't have to cut the car up for it. Not too bad. The ZL1, the AFCOs are $700 to $1,000, but yeah. Getting back to the auxiliary fuel system, you should be fine for 650 wheel. Like if I was gonna say, if you're going full race car, like I've seen a couple people do, just go with like a 4 or something, aftermarket pump. Okay. Who else makes? And this is kind of more Corvette specific, but Cords, Cordes, Cords Performance makes a bunch of like A&A or Pro Charger stuff, like full aftermarket heat exchanger. I'm sorry, intercoolers on a C7. Cords Performance, I know they make one. The guy that runs Streetcar Takeover, Stain Killer, something like that. He's got their full setup, and I've seen some of his videos on YouTube. I haven't watched much, to be honest. But yeah, Cords Performance, I'm pretty sure they do it. But yeah, that'll be great. $1,200. Okay. Yeah, that'll be a good car. Yeah, so Philip, you should have no issue with the Pro Charger or the DSX kit. I imagine that would be fine. The one thing I would suggest is if you could somehow wire in an LED. This is going to sound kind of weird, but if you can wire in an LED, and run it into the interior, put it into a vent or something, that way you just know it's working. Because it would really suck to be going down a quarter mile and your DSX pump takes a crap. I almost swore again, sorry. Your DSX pump fails and you're full send, and you run out of fuel and your car's like, oh, boom. So that would be kind of my one piece of advice. If you can somehow add a warning light or a indicator that the external pump is on. With my Corvette, yep, doing that hurt, I can do that by wiring the leads. Yeah, that would make sense. I should do that on the Corvette, the DSX fuel pump. I'm sorry, the A&A fuel pump kit for the Corvette. It wouldn't be too hard. The pump's right there. But anyway, the reason we're bringing this up with Philip and everyone else on the live stream is the fact that if you have an auxiliary fuel pump, there's really no way, unless you have a aftermarket ECM. I don't think it can. I think the way the auxiliary works, it's just on or off. There's no in between. Like my stuff is all Hobbs switch based, so like literally it has nothing to do with the computer. There's no tie-in. I don't think HP tuners would see it. Like you can't like if you had a Holly or Haltech or whatever engine management system. I've been going down that rabbit hole a little bit. If you guys, like I was saying, if you have an aftermarket ECM, you can actually control secondary fuel pumps, boost control solenoids, launch control. What was the other thing? Fuel cut, stuff like that. That can all be controlled, but the GM ECMs just kind of suck. That sounds bad, but I've been watching Jeremy Formato. I basically watched the whole like Cletus, Jeremy Formato crew, Faster Proms, and they've been messing around with these Honda stuff. And I'm not a Honda guy at all, but those guys have hacked that Honda ECM to do boost by gear, 2 steps. I think they had some kind of fuel management stuff out of the stock Honda ECM, but we're not going to get that on the GM stuff. It's just A, too complicated, and B, cost. Like no one's going to do the research to try to incorporate that into stock ECM. But yeah, so that's kind of the kind of why you want a indicator is make sure your fuel stuff's working properly. And if your car's like mine, the Corvette is so loud, you actually can't hear the external pump. I've got twin Holley. Shit, they're that big. I just swore again. This video will probably get demonetized. But the twin Holley pumps, man, are they 500 gallon per minute? They're two big pumps, and if they're not on, I can't hear it. Like I can't hear it when they're on. They don't run super loud. So if I'm going down a quarter mile, which won't be anytime soon with this whole global issue going on, unless you have an LED indicator, there's no way of knowing if they're on, basically. So, and the DSX kit, like I said, Philip, you should be fine. All right. Philip. Hey, Philip, where are you from? Just curious. I don't know if you have a tuner. If you're sending it in Mexico and your LED turns off, just lay off the gas. No need to brake. I mean, your car will naturally slow down anyway. Texas? Been to Texas? It's a very nice state. Hot. But I was just trying to give you a shop recommendation. I don't know if you have a tuner or anything set up. I know, man, who's down there? There's Late Model Racecraft, Dedicated Motorsports, Texas Speed. They do motors, not really tuning. Wow, I'm having a brain fart. My catch can on the Corvette is from a company in Texas. D3, whatever D3 engineering used to be called, Pro Speed Autosports. Yeah, Pro Speed, Dedicated Motorsports. Dedicated might be a good shop. I have had Matt runs Dedicated Motorsports. I've bought a lot of parts from him, like billet one-off stuff, particular PCV vents on the C6. He does tuning as well, so he might be a good location to go to. I would stay away from Hennessy. I don't know if you know anything about that, but just don't go there. I hope you know more about that than I do. That would be my only recommendation of not going to a place in Texas. Yeah, we won't get into. I don't need a copyright strike or something. Vipers. Okay, good. I'll say this: that twin turbo C8 with the unhacked ECM. Philip, you said it. I didn't. But that twin turbo C8, it's running. It's making boost, but who knows? The wastegates might not be plugged in. It might be making noises, but we'll not talk about that. But anyway, yeah, don't go there. That would be my only piece of advice. Now you said something. I apologize. Let's go back up. Oh, sending it. Yeah. So if you have an LED and your fuel system cuts off, just lay off the gas and let the car slow down. With you not accelerating anymore, the stock fuel system, so the stock injectors and all that, will still be running. You shouldn't have an issue, I wouldn't think. It's not like you're hitting fuel cut. It's not like you're not making any more boost, because as soon as you lay off the gas, your throttle body will shut, blow off will go off, and you're not making any more boost. Stock fuel system should still be running. You know, and that's good for 500 or 600 horsepower. No, the stock ZL1 pump. It's been a while since I've looked into this. The stock ZL1 pump is good for a certain ID 1050s. Okay. Yeah, 600. That should be fine. But like we're saying, if you see the fuel system turn off, like you see that light go red or whatever, but I think you should be fine. Now, don't say nothing can't happen if it still could, but I would assume off throttle, stock fuel pump, you should still be good. What else going on? Man, that's gonna be. Is your car an automatic or manual? I guess that's the next question. Sorry. Report. Automatic. Okay. If you saw my video on the heat exchanger upgrade, not heat, I apologize. The transmission cooler upgrade, I would highly suggest that. It basically is the. I will do a saw later, way later. Yeah, I have a ZL1. I did a LSA torque converter on the SS, and you'll notice this. It doesn't matter if it's super Pro Charge or LSA. The problem I had was if I'm at the drag strip and I'm trying to rev it off the light, like if I'm at the light's coming down, I'm trying to brake torque it, with my left foot on the brake, give it gas. With a stock converter, I would simply push through the beams every time. I red lit so many times because of that. So I put the ZL1 stall in there. It's, what is it? Is it like, I think the stock stall is like 1100 or something stupid low like that. So if you put any power behind it, like I said, Pro Charger or LSA, it doesn't matter. You're going to push through the torque converter and the car will move and you'll red light. So I went with the ZL1 torque converter. It was like $400. I think there was a core charge of $75 or something like that. I ended up eating the core charge due to the fact that I didn't have a ZL1 torque converter to send into. I think I bought it from Scott. I'm going to butcher the name. Scoggin Dickey? Something like that? SD parts, whatever they're called. Probably do this. Oh, I'm getting pop-ups from YouTube about faster problems going live. We're just talking about them. But yeah, I would recommend install at some point. Upgrade the trans cooler. Upgrade to the Camaro pan. Those are all pretty much the 6L80 upgrades you can do. And if you ever do blow up the 6L80, who's the guy? Adam Cooper is kind of the 6L80 SS guy. You know, I'm sure other cars have other builders, but Cooper is kind of the 6L80 guy for our cars. Now that sounds kind of weird. Us and the G8 guys. I think the Ace. Okay, yeah. I actually have Adam's parts. I have the. What the hell do I have? The LSA requires a bunch of wiring harness adapters, and that's what I have on the SS. I have all of Ace's parts. The MAF, throttle body. The one thing I didn't buy from him was the IAT breakout, that you basically put the IAT into the ZL1 lid, and the rest of it goes to the MAF sensor. So that's the LS7 style MAF sensor. But yeah, Phil, do you know where Ace is based out of? That's the one thing I don't know. I don't know where Adam Cooper is based out of. I'm not sure if he's in Texas or whatnot, but I think he does a lot of the RCR stuff too. Like he carries all of Rick Crawford's parts. Okay. What else? Yeah, 6L80 stuff, you should be fine. You can blow up a stock 6L80. I haven't done it yet. It happens. 'Cause I think what a lot of guys do is when they try to tune the 6L80, they tune it wrong, it blows up, and you get it rebuilt like a stock rebuild, and then they tune it again. They just don't know what they're doing with the transmission shift points, the firmness, you know, all that stuff that basically happens with the 6L80. Won't be retro with maybe the True Cool. Okay, that's right. I forgot about that. So I have the 40K basically on the bottom of that scoop. I'm not sure if you'll even have that scoop, that plastic tray that kind of goes around the SS grill. I'm not sure if you'll even have that with the bar from Next Gen and the intercooler. But basically I have the LSA intercooler up top, the heat exchanger, and I have the 40K on the bottom. So each one of those holes has a gets taken out. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. So, what else going on? Hope you guys are enjoying the SS content. You know, it's been quite a while. I was actually just doing a build breakdown cost, and a friend of mine, pointed out like, oh, there's a 700 wheel LSA running around. The guy listed all his mods, and I added it up to make that same wheel horsepower, $5,500. Yeah, that no. The financial cost of that doesn't make sense. It's like he has an LSA, he's ported E85, 2-inch headers. What else did he have? Pulley. There was something else in there. Was it heads? Yeah, like $5,500 to make another 150 wheel. I'm good. Oh, and a fuel system. I think he had the DS6 fuel kit. That is the kind of one part preventing me doing anything else on the SS is fuel. It's like by the time you pay injectors and fuel pump, you're at $1,600 at a minimum. Say $2,000, and then the only reason you do that is because of a $200 pulley. You know, I'm like, no, I'm good. So that's why I haven't gone too crazy with the SS, just because there's like a plateau you hit, and I only have $3,200 in the whole LSA setup. You know, the blower, the ZL1 lid. I had the injectors. It's the one thing I didn't buy. I had injectors already. They actually came off the Corvette. So $3,200 all said and done, and spending nearly double that price for 150 wheel ain't gonna happen. So, but minus the idling issue that we've talked about earlier in this chat, in this live stream, I would feel very comfortable taking this car to California and back from North Carolina. So once we figure out that idling issue, we could start doing that again. But yeah. Phil, let me know on your setup. I'm really interested. I don't know if you're on the SS group. If there's two SS Facebook groups, there's one ran by, I'm not even gonna say his name. It's a person out in California that sells hoods. That's all I'm gonna say. If you're in that group, good luck. I hope you're in Joe's group from SS Only and G8only.com. His group is the one to be in if you're not. I know that sounds very weird, but let's just leave it at that. there's politics behind everything, but the SS group with Joe is the one to be in, and yeah. So I post updates in that group if you're on Facebook. I don't know. Some people aren't on social media, so it is what it is. I'd be very interested in seeing your results. I want to see the installed pictures and just seeing some of the turbo stuff that Next Gen and Turbo Joe have done with that grill, the intercooler behind it. It's just really cool. Like I like seeing people go do something different. Like when I did the LSA swap it's either been 3 or 4 years ago. No one had done it. Not many people had done it, and I think I was one of the first people on YouTube to actually document it from, install to dyno. Like I said, like 4 years ago. And that's kind of what built the channel. And unfortunately, we haven't done much with the SS since. But, it is what it is. But yeah, like I was saying, I want to see the Pro Charger stuff because that's always cool. I like seeing something different. My only gripe on the Pro Charger is the filter location. Like, why the hell is the filter above the headers, above the exhaust? That's like my only, trying to think about that from an engineering standpoint. Like, it's the hottest part of the car. Phil, if you're in, you're not far from Jet Hot. Jet Hot's in Mississippi, or was. Maybe they still are. I would recommend, if you have headers, get them coated. Don't wrap, coating and wrap on headers is a double-edged sword. They both have their pluses and minuses. I would get some kind of thermal barrier, whether it's a coating or wrap, on a set of headers, and that way your Pro Charger, which is the filter, is literally 3 inches above. Actually, we can go over here. So your filter with that Pro Charger literally is, like here, and your header is 3 inches down there. So yeah, I would definitely get these coated if you're gonna do some kind of intake. But yeah, so that's kind of my recommendations for the Pro Charger. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't own one. I've never owned one. But just working on boosted cars for the last 2 years. No, more than that. The Corvette's been supercharged for 5 years, and I think the SS back there has been supercharged for 4 years. I think we said. It's just stuff that I've experienced. And if you haven't seen it, this is the TVS 2300 on the Corvette. We've got the A&A fuel pump kit that I was telling you about. I have a return style. And intake, 2300, green belt. Nothing too crazy. Oh, updated alternator. Corvettes eat alternators all the time. And if you don't have a good one, yeah, you'll have problems. So anyway, that's kind of my experience with superchargers on LS cars. Obviously kind of a Roots supercharger fan. The 2300, you know, I bought that blower 5 years ago. The 2300 was the latest and greatest. Now the Kong 2650 came out. Man, that, unless you have a built motor, there's almost no reason to buy a 2650. Some of you may disagree with that, but the 2650 makes 20 psi. Like, stock bottom end, especially on an LS2 or LS3, whatever, isn't going to last long. And it would suck to blow a, what's a forged bottom end, about $5,000? Well, if you get a 427, say $4,000 to $5,000 on the low end. It would suck to spend like $6,000 on a blower, blow up the bottom end, stock bottom end, and then what happens when a bottom end is blow, especially on Roots cars, it takes out the supercharger too. So that's not something you want to experience. So, all right, I'm going back through the chat. Talked about intercoolers. We talked about heat exchangers, transmission cooler. Okay. Yeah, Phil, I'm not sure I don't know how the stack's going to run on a ProCharge car. Is it intercooler, transcooler, AC condenser, radiator? I mean, that's a big stack. And I don't know the thickness of the radiator, the intercooler for the ProCharger. I don't know where the auto will fit, then the AC condenser, and then the radiator. I don't know if you're going to take all that stuff out. I simply don't know. The one thing I will say, I've seen people comment on, specifically with the aftermarket heat exchanger, transmission cooler I have, keep the factory brick, that little block in there, keep that in, because some folks have eliminated that and their transmission temperature is not getting up to temperature. If that, the transmission's too cold, it doesn't close it off or open it up depending on what's going on. So, but all right, we're almost at an hour. Welcome back, whoever just joined. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll through the messages. Okay. I think we've covered pretty much all we wanted to cover. Did you guys... SSV Redline Sport Wagon from Mr. Vice. I'm jealous. I really like the wagons. We didn't get the Ute, we didn't get the wagon, and we use a lot of your trim, because I've actually had people comment on my videos. They're like, "Why are you ripping all the chrome off and replacing it with the GM black stuff?" I think our cars, I think the SS is a Redline no, not Redline. It's just an SSV. I think the Redline was a upper trim. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Vice. I'm not... The Australian stuff, I know we get parts. Hey, Mr. Vice, what, do you know what was wrong with it, or are you still working on it like I am? Sorry, guys. But anyway, I guess back to the SS. So, Mr. Vice, I've through PC said misfire. Okay. I wish mine would say I had a misfire. It's not saying a damn thing, and it could be the fact that it's tuned. You know, I do have an aftermarket tune on this car, but I was trying to point out. Sorry, Mr. Vice. Yeah, I've gotten all your parts on here. I got the black trim, the black lower trim. We got the side marker. What else? I think that's pretty much it for the GMs. Oh, and the front blackout kit as well. So, yeah, that's exactly what my car sounds like, Mr. Vice. With the rough idle, it's weird. It's not throwing a check engine light. It's not. I went through. Sorry, guys, you're a little crooked. I went through my PC, not my PC. I went through my diagnostics, pulled up the misfire count. I'm not having any misfire counts on any of the cylinders. So it's a hell of a weird issue. But, oh, let me show you something. Flags might look familiar. So, not the sports car. Yeah, I get a couple comments on this every now and then. Got the HSV flag and the HRT Holden Racing Team. I had those sent over from a guy. I think he got sick. Sorry, guys, I'm stuck. All right. Yeah, there was a guy on the G8 groups. He's an Australian guy that could order like random parts for you and would ship them to you. I forgot his name. But anyway, when I've had a VE Commodore and a VF Commodore. The VF obviously being the SS. The VE was a Pontiac G8. So I actually had him send me Phil. That name sounds right. But anyway, so I had the guy like went out of his way, special ordered those two flags for me, and shipped them over to the States. I think I got them within like a week or two. But this guy was just a Holden fan, and he like really helped supporting the American counterparts, like getting parts and not big parts like bumpers, but just small like random stuff. And yeah, the guy got sick. He had a side business. I don't think he passed away, but anyway, it's the only reason like I've got random Holden flags in my garage is because of helpful Australian across the pond. And he basically was like, hey, I sent him a message, hey, can you get me like flag part number this, flag part number that? And he's like, I think I can. Spark plugs B. Okay. So are you near Adelaide? I think is Adelaide. My Australian geography is crap, so I apologize. It's either Adelaide or Elizabeth where the Holdens were made. I forget which one it was, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, I actually just got some spark plugs. We got some NGKs. So hopefully that resolves my issue. If not, spark plug wires. Oh, development. Nice. Man, that must have been... If you worked on the development for the VE, and that car came out in Australia in 2006, I think. That was early 2000s then. Yeah, you guys got all the cool stuff. Like, when I say that, like, the cool, like, V8, rear-wheel drive, two-door, four-door wagon, and the Ute. You guys got all the cool stuff. Yes, we had Camaros and stuff, but the Camaro was dead from 2002 to 2009, which is a Zeta chassis, which is a VE and VF kind of Commodore. That's what I like about Australia. You guys kept all the cool stuff. Like we were like, oh, let's go front wheel drive, Cavaliers, Berettas, stuff like that. But yeah, you guys kept all the cool stuff, and no, we didn't. And it made me sad when they shut down the plant. I forgot about the battery. Nice. Yeah, a lot of cars have gone battery in the trunk. You know, the GTO is the last. Sorry, what was the GTO was not a Commodore. The GTO was a Monero. Monaro. I apologize on the pronunciation of that. The GTO I think was the last battery up front for the rear-wheel drive cars. I know you guys got like Trailblazers and or Blazers and Malibus and Cruises and crap like that. Same stuff we have here. Um, if you guys are not Australian, there is a very good documentary from the Donut Channel. This is gonna sound bad. Basically, it's a recent YouTube video of why did Holden disappear. It came out within the last few weeks, and I think the channel name is Donut Media. You'll find it on Facebook or YouTube. It was actually a very good video about financial decisions that were made, and some guy retired and BMW. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. Was it the E36? Why didn't Holden fail? Yeah, that's the same video I'm talking about. That's actually a pretty good video of the kind of the history, because we got the GTO, we got the G8, we got the SS, and we got the Caprice, which is a funny story. I actually know more people with Caprices than I know almost any other car, even though they're only supposed to be sold as cop cars. That didn't last very long, and a lot of the Caprices, almost new, went straight to private party. So now I'm not saying all of them, but a good chunk of them. Sorry guys, I'm getting congested again. But yeah, good luck, Mr. Vice, on the misfire. I mean, I guess good luck on both of us. I hope that we both can get. Yeah, that's the kind of crazy thing about the HSV, the Australian cars was. So that car came out was that 2017 only, Mr. Vice, or was that 2016? I can't remember. But anyway, so Corvette production ended 2013 for the C6. So this car over here, 27. Oh, okay. So C6 Corvette production ended in 2013. GM Performance set aside like 500 crate engines of the LS9. And then Holden, or not, so HSV, decided to say, hey, we want those engines. So they bought all, I might be wrong about the number, but like 400 some LS9 engines, shipped them all to Australia, stuck them in, a basic Commodore, changed the bumpers, suspension, exhaust, trans, all that stuff. And you guys have like a almost boutique built car, with a warranty. And I always thought that's kind of cool. Like, they would never do something like that over here. Brakes, yeah. AP Racing Street, AP Powers. I think it might be AP. I could be wrong about that, but you guys got like crazy rotors. And yeah, we have the ZL1 stuff, the CTS stuff, but it didn't come stock. I had to go, as we call it, parts bin shopping, and bought all this Camaro CTS parts and put all that on. But yeah, you guys got like DSSV suspension. You got the full like entertainment, infotainment, the HVAC. 6-shift only. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that the W1s only came in manual. Makes sense. I just didn't know that. But yeah, like you guys got all the cool stuff. GM Chevrolet would never make a one-off car for 160,000. So 160,000 Australian. I don't know what the conversion rate is. Say 130,000 American. You know, they would never do that. They're going to be some mass-produced car. They're going to make 10,000 of them. You know, there's always bean counters involved, and that's what I liked about HSV was, you know, that they would go do crazy stuff. And now they've fallen into this like, they only convert right hand to left hand drive, or vice versa, left hand into right hand drive conversions on the Camaro. I think the trucks, you guys are getting some of those. Yep, it was great times indeed. But yeah, so you know, it sucks what happened, how they went out of business, but it's also kind of cool that I can connect with, you know, users in Australia and not use that sounds horrible. YouTube people in Australia, and you know, we can have a common share of a cool car. Um, you know, I've got a 14. They came out with the mag ride, the manual. What else did they come out with? The rear brakes, the Brembos. All that stuff came later. My only regret about buying this car is the color. I know that sounds kind of weird, but so I had a. Okay. All right, thanks, Mr. Vice. Comment, I don't know, somewhere on this video, or I'll see it. Comment on any of the videos, and I see all the comments, but I'll make a long story short. When I bought my SS in 14, I bought mine in March of 14, so they'd been out for a little while, and I had a G8, Pontiac G8. It was magnetic gray metallic. I don't know what the Australian name or paint code was, but basically the dark gray, not quite black color. I had that. My neighbor at my old house backed into my car, did $6,000 worth of damage to the two doors, and they had to pull out the B pillar. So they smacked it right in between the doors. The doors had to be replaced, and they had to pull the B pillar out. Well, what happened was I got the car back. They had the car at the shop for... So this was in 2014, so that was 6 years. Wow, 6 years ago. So long story short, I got the car back. The car was pulling hard left or hard right. The car was sitting up on a curb when it happened, so I don't know if something got bent in the suspension. So I went to Chevrolet, because Pontiac at this time in 2014, Pontiac had been dead since 2009, which sucks because we would have got the Ute, potentially. You know, we would have potentially got the Pontiac G8 sport truck in 2009, but it's neither here nor there. But anyway, my neighbor hit my car, backed into it like I said, bent something in the suspension. I don't know if it was a front control arm, front trailing, you know, whatever piece bent. I took it to GM Chevrolet, like I was saying, and I had the guy try to do an alignment on it. He was on the car that was on the alignment rack for 5 hours. They could not get the car tweaked just enough to where it would pull straight, so to where it wouldn't pull harshly to one side or the other. I don't really recall which direction it was pulling in. I think it was left, or it doesn't matter. But anyway, they had an SS in the showroom. It was white. It was this SS. And so how I ended up in the SS was I went in for an alignment after a back into incident, and I came home in the SS. So they gave me fair dollar on it. I almost had that car. I almost had the G8 paid off at that point. I think I'd had it for 4 years. Yeah. So at that point, I'd had the G8 almost paid off, and so I took what equity I had into it, rolled it into the SS, and yeah. So that's, long story short, is how we ended up with the SS. I haven't told that story before. So if you guys are still here and watching to the very end, well, not the end, but after an hour and 15 minutes, that's kind of how we ended up with the SS. But that's the one issue with the 14s that I don't like, were the colors. You had white, black, shale, which was a horrible color, and maybe red. There were only like 3 or 4 colors in 14, maybe 5, and they only had this SS in that color. They didn't have any other color, so kind of like, well, I guess I'm ending up with a white car. They came out with the cool colors, of course, like the following years. They had the dark green, the regal green. They had the light green with the jungle green, the orange color, which was 17 only. Uh, 2 reds. They had the some like it hype, some like it hot red, that dark burgundy color red. Oh, and they had 2 blues. I forgot about that. So that's the only thing I don't like about my SS is the color. But what are you gonna do about it? I'm not buying a new car. I never was gonna buy a new car. I had friends like, "Oh, hey, the 17s are out. Are you gonna trade in your SS?" I'm like, "No." They didn't change it enough to spend, say, $30,000 or $40,000 for a different paint color. Like, no, I can live with it. So, but that's kind of how we end up with 14, and why we haven't upgraded or ever will is because of, and I think at that time, by 27, yeah, by 2017, I already had the LSA on it, so it's already supercharged. I was like, hey, I'm not taking all that off to go redo it for a 14 or for a 2017. So I have no ill will against any of the newer cars. I don't care if they have Brembos. I have Brembos. I already had them on the G8. Nothing like that. I like all the years, but that's kind of the story of the SS, the G8 turning into an SS, and coming home with this white thing. Yeah, well, we're almost at an hour 20 minutes. I think we're gonna end it here. If you guys have any last minute questions or comments, post them. I'll give you guys another minute or two, and otherwise we'll end this thing and go from there. But yeah, we actually had real good interactive today. That sounds weird. We actually had a real good interaction, I guess, is a good way of saying it. We had Philip with the Pro Charged SS, and we had Mr. Vice end up being a Australian guy with I believe it was a VE. And he's got the same issue I do with the Rough Idol. Yeah, that's not bad. So, all right, guys, it's been almost an hour and 20 minutes. That's kind of crazy for a live stream, but hope you guys enjoyed it. I apologize if it was too long and going off on tangents, but when we're trying to interact and give you guys information, it's kind of what happens. Last thing I'm going to say is, if you guys have any questions or comments off of the live stream, send me a message. I'll try to reply, either in comments on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Probably the best way, if you don't want it to be public, would be through Instagram direct messenger or Facebook Messenger through facebook.com/BonecrrusherSS. So, all right, guys, have a good one. If you guys want to help support the channel, like I was saying earlier, check all the links and check out our website. We'll go from there. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.